Hi, my kid obviously didn't go to school today, so we'll ignore that phone call. Can't really say anything because when I was in high school, I probably wasn't in school either. Hey guys, welcome. It's Monday Still Deliciousness. So I'm going to give you a second to get on here. Um, Say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. I'm going to talk to you today about that was way too much lotion. My dogs are being annoying in the foyer about having inner conversations with yourself. I'm just going to caveat something here. My brain is freaking overloaded. I've definitely had one of those days where I'm like, wow, if I have anyone else tell me something that is out of the blue, I'm probably going to lose my noodles a little bit. But it's all good, right? Because we press forward and we find the positive. I just had something happen earlier. It's one of those things where I'm really excited for the person, but I'm really not excited for myself. So I'm feeling the joy, I'm feeling the love for the other person, and feeling slightly sorry for myself. But it's okay because I'll get through it. Okay, guys, where you come? Tell me where you're at. So if you're joining and you haven't been here before, I'm in the fantastic, great state of Utah. It is really cold. We still have snow. I'm right up here in the north of the state, right next to the border of Idaho. The sun was out today. It was absolutely gorgeous. I definitely sat out in my front yard on some rocks and sucked some of that sunshine in, but it was a little bit chilly. Hello, California. I bet it is so warm there. So, depending on what one of my profiles you're streaming in on, I can't see all of your names. So, um, I just don't want you to think that I'm being rude if I don't say your name. So, if it's not my main page, it just shows up as a Facebook user. And so I can't tell. Okay, let's hop right into this, guys. This is really good stuff. So, I see this used not only in for my clients, but you can use this in business. In fact, my company uses something really similar to it when we're trying to find what we call a root cause. So when something happens and it's a big ordeal and it really messes with our production, then we need to find out why. We need to get down to the roots of the problem. So this is what happens, and we do this with ourselves too. And I'm going to show you how cool this is. Um, it's called having an inner conversation with yourself, right? You know, I'm always talking about past agreements and clearing out layering, and that's because that's exactly what this is too. It's we're going down really deep, and having a inner conversation with ourselves. One of those things that you're like, well, wait, isn't having a conversation with myself talking to myself? Get rid of that one too. Get rid of it all. Using your imagination, talking to yourself. Guys, that's how you communicate with your subconscious. That's how you communicate with upper level energy, whatever that is for you, God, whatever. So let some of that stuff go. Okay. So here we go. In the corporate world, we use this, we call it a YY. When something really big happens, it's I don't know what the heck is going on with my phone. When something really big happens, it costs lots of money. And so guess what? People up on the top are like, hey guys, you better figure out what is going on. And so we use a tool like this where on the outside, if you just look at it, and the example we're going to use is we're going to use this phrase. So I'm going to kind of put you into the position that you're my client and show you how this works. So we're going to use the phrase, why can't you save money? Now, you can use anything. So you can think of any type of a problem or any type of an issue that you have. So why can't you save money is the one that I'm going to use. But if I was using this, because you can use this in a business practice, you can use this in basically any situation. So let's say I had something happen and you just basically are going to take that problem if it's a business type thing. Okay, so we're going to look at this and we are going to focus on those cool words that you learned when you were in elementary school. We're looking at the who, the what, the where, the why, and the how. Because if I just pull my client aside and I say, okay, your issue is you can't save money, and I ask them, why can't you save money? They're going to give me a really vanilla answer. And it's going to actually have nothing to do with why they really can't save money. It's no different than if there's an issue going on in my business and I say, why is this happening? My initial response is probably nothing to actually do with what is really going on. You guys have to be the most distracting coworkers I have ever had in my life. So let's look at this. So as I said, put yourself kind of into the client practitioner mindset, because I'm going to show you how this works. So if I say, why can't you save money? Then my client, and I'll keep asking this question until I really get a good solid answer, because the best one is like, I don't know. Everybody knows that's just a bogus response, because you don't want to feel, you don't want to embrace, you don't want to engage. And so if I get that one, I'll say, really, you don't know. So let's think about it a little bit more. Why can't you save money? And then I'll just let them sit with themselves, and I won't give them any stimuli as far as like trying to probe the question out. I just want to see them come up with the answer. So here's an example. So I say, why can't you save money? And now for you, you can use this with yourself. You can have the same dialect with yourself. So if you ask yourself why you can't save money and you get like a really, I don't know, answer, or it's pretty, doesn't have any detail in it, then sit with yourself. Take a deep breath and ask yourself again, why can't I save money? So then you're going to get, this is the example answer. Money is unsafe. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. So money for you feels unsafe. So then we want to say, okay, so, and you're looking for a feeling. You're looking for a feeling that's attached to this statement. So unsafe, right? I feel unsafe. That's a feeling. I feel insecure. I feel worried. I feel fearful. I feel whatever that is. Okay, perfect. So now we're getting somewhere. So then I'm going to say, okay, let this resonate with you. Why do you feel or believe that money is unsafe? And an answer may come of, because my dad has money and I think he's evil. Okay, we're really getting somewhere now, because you see how this goes. And so you just keep asking yourselves, using who, what, where, why. Okay, why? Well, how? How did this become your thought? Or so in this situation, like the example I used was, okay, so I now know, right? Because my dad has money and he is evil. Well, there's a lot more to go with this, right? But now I've gotten a little further, because now I'm pulling out the who. Now, ultimately, is what you're doing is you're taking your cognitive mind and you're connecting it to your subconscious, so that you can basically get out of there the type of stuff that I do with my clients. When I actually do an energy connection with the subconscious, I'm showing you how you can do this on yourself. And I'm probably going to sneeze. Maybe not. Okay. So perfect. Now I've gotten my statement of, because my dad has money and he's evil. Perfect. Who? So what does that mean to you? Why is your dad evil? Because he has money. And then I'm going to get some kind of an answer back, right? My dad left my mom with nothing. He now lives in a huge house with a new wife, and my mom is practically starving. See how we're starting to pull out? We're starting to pull out details. Okay, perfect. So is what I'm doing here is I'm shifting to the past. I want to be focused on the past, because I'm looking for the root, right? We started in the now with the thought of, I can't save money. So that's happening right now. And now we're pulling back. We're going backwards. We're looking through the past. We're sorting through all those pages, all those documents. We want to see, where did this start to happen? So if I say, when did this start? Well, when I was 8 years old, my dad left my family and I felt abandoned. And I'll just keep going. Okay, why did you feel abandoned? Because my mom and my siblings were evicted from the house, and we were left all alone. We were in and out of homeless shelters. We didn't have any food to eat. So now we've gone really far back, and your cognitive mind and your subconscious are really aligning, because you're basically going back, and just this experience is coming back up. And so now we can see that there is a connection. So this is ultimately what we're going for. So remember that first it was, why can't you save any money? And it was, money is unsafe. But now we're getting down to the root of it. Is it really that? It's, you can't save any money because you were abandoned. Having money makes you resonate with being abandoned. So see how cool that is? So now we're bringing the belief that we had in the past. Now we're going to bring it into the present moment. So what in the present moment, you ask yourself this question. Now, this is one of my favorite questions, but be honest and truthful with yourself. So ask it, sit for a minute, take a deep cleansing breath, and then see what comes to your mind. Because the question is, how is this serving you now? Now, this is a really hard one for people to wrap their heads around because it makes them be really vulnerable. But there are times, and I'll give you an example of, I can't remember what book it's in, but there is a gentleman who is talking about, I think it was from my hypnosis courses. There's a gentleman, he's talking about how he has a client and he's working with her, and she's got a lot of issues going on. She's like pretty chronically ill to the point that she, if I recall right, like she's not able to walk. She has to have a caretaker at her house all the time. And so what's happened is her spouse has basically altered his entire life to take care of her. And she also has like a family member, I think her sister comes and moves in with them. So the husband is just taking care of her, and she has a family member there 24/7. And she comes to this practitioner, and I believe that it was hypnosis that he does. So whatever he does, she gets better. And so she starts to just suddenly she's able to walk again. She is making huge progress. She's leaving the house, doing all this stuff that she never did before. So the sister or whoever was staying with her goes back home, and the spouse starts working full time. And within a couple of weeks, guess what happens to her? All of her symptoms come back. And so she comes back to the practitioner and says, this is what happened. And so it's really hard for us, but sometimes this reflection purpose is it was serving her, right? Her actual illness was serving her in a way. We don't like to admit that, but sometimes we're getting a benefit out of something. So I see this a lot with chaos, with like couples and relationships. Why do you fight? You fight and you argue because you create the chaos. So then what? You can make up. We won't go into that kind of detail, but right. So it creates this thing where you kind of get in this conditioned state that, oh, if this happens, then this happens, and you're actually getting something from it. So in this situation, how is this serving you now? If you really look at it, you can say something like, if I don't have money, I won't be abandoned. So if I keep myself away from having money and I don't allow myself abundance, then I'm safe, right? I'm not going to be abandoned, because if I have money, then I'm going to be abandoned. So that's how it's serving you in the now. So we go from the past, we go into the now, and then we move forward into the future. So when we take this statement into the future, then we do this. Okay, if you were to change this thought and money didn't make you feel abandoned, so money is no longer unsafe for you, where would you be? And now we're taking it into the future, because now, hello, Shannon, now we're getting into this space where we're starting to work on the manifesting, which is imagining what this is going to look like for you. So when I say imagine it, I mean really, like to the detail. So here we go. So I'm going to ask lots of stuff. In the future, like I do this when I do hypnosis, like I'm placing in positive core beliefs into your subconscious, doing it with lots of details to this point. Like if you're working on weight loss, I'm going to ask you like, hey, so not while you're in hypnosis, but before, when I'm doing my client intake notes, I'm going to say, I want you to tell me about when you see yourself, when you visualize yourself at the size that you want to be at, tell me about the outfit that you see yourself wearing. And I want you to explain it. And then I want my clients to be like, oh, I see myself in this beautiful sundress. It has really fluttery sleeves, and it's got little orange flowers on it. And I've got a beautiful silver necklace with a key on it, and I'm wearing my grandmother's ring, and I have these, right? Like the more that I can get them to explain it, so then when they go into hypnosis, then I'm putting in these positive beliefs of explaining that to them, because that's how they're visualizing it. And then that's how the subconscious aligns with what you want to get. So I want to know, if you had money, what would you create that would feel safe? And then, my client's going to show me exactly what. So I'll tell you for me, because this actually resonates with me. is just, I want to have a house that's my home that I don't worry about is going to be taken away from me, or that I'm ever going to have to worry about losing, or that, when I was in the military, like I moved around so much that I literally had boxes that when I finally got out of the military, I realized I had never opened them because they just went from one garage to the next garage to the next garage. I never planted any flowers at any of my houses. I never did. I never painted anything. And looking back, like I can see exactly, right? I don't want this taken away from me. So I never decorated for the holidays. I never did any of that. And then the moment that I got out and I got into a home, I might have gone a little crazy, as you can see. The stuff in the back. Everybody's always like, what is this? It's not Halloween. That's my overflow area. So I don't have a place to store it. So that's where it goes. So you'll see that it changes for the holidays. But so it's resonating with that. So what's making you feel safe if you had money? And so now we're getting into that. So I'm just going to recap here, and then I'm going to tell you a really cool story. So going into this inner conversation, looking for the who, the what, the why, the how, because your problem sounds like what it is when it comes out of your mouth, but it's actually not what it is at all. So we're getting to the root. So start from the past, let it resonate, see what pulls up for you, then get it into the now. Okay, what's happening now with this? How is this serving me? How is this situation serving me right now? And then we're going to go into the future and seeing yourself in the future. Now, you guys, a lot of you probably heard me share this before, but it's one of my ultimate favorite things to do because I still do it now. And a lot of times people say, I have no idea how you were able to make that happen. And I'm like, okay, well, this is what I'm telling you is that I learned early on, not even from doing this work, but from actually my professional career when I was chair flying, that your cognitive mind, when you imagine things, it reacts as though you were actually doing it. So people that are in professional sports, they will imagine themselves winning. And when I say imagine, I'm not saying like if I'm a football player, I'm not just going to sit and be like, oh, I won the game. I'm talking about to the detail. So we used to sit in chairs in front of walls that had posters on them with our checklists, and we would read them. We would read our checklist out loud to ourselves. I'm sure it was comical to watch these military students that we were just sitting there talking to a wall, but we would do everything. We would make the radio calls, Tiger 26 ready for departure. We would have in our minds, I would imagine that I would be cleared for takeoff. And then I would repeat, Tiger 26 cleared for takeoff, runway 36 left, whatever. And then I would be like, okay. And I would go through the motions. I would literally sit there and I would allow my muscle memory. I would push my throttles forward. I would be watching my airspeed indicator. I would be resonating in my head. Okay, it's been a long time since I've done this, so I have no idea whatever I'm flying or whatever my freaking rotation speed is, but whatever, 70 knots and I'm rotating. And then I would literally like pull the yoke back and I would feel my airplane lift off. And then I would go through the entire steps of putting my gear up and going through all my checklists. And I did this my entire life in my military career. Even when I got to a big boy jet and I was flying with another person, I would do it all the time because if I hadn't flown for a while, I would get out my checklist and I would go through it and just all the switches, all the stuff. It works because you are visualizing it in your head. And the more detailed you are about it, the more your cognitive mind resonates that it actually happened for you. So when I tell you to go into the future, what does it look like for you? If it is back to this money and safety, and you're telling me, oh, having a house makes me feel safe, super duper. I want to know what that house looks like. I want to know, tell me like what is on the outside. Does it have rocks? Does it have siding? What color is it? Does it have rain gutters? Tell me about like the fence in the front yard. Does it have trees? The more that you go into it, the more your mind will create whatever you're after. So cool. Okay. You guys, I hope you were having a beautiful Monday. Hopefully that helps you. So try it. Inner conversation. You got to connect your subconscious to your cognitive mind so that you can align yourself. If you're like, man, this stuff is so good, and you want to figure it out on an even deeper level, send me a quick message. I will tell you how you can get access to my Soul Centered Academy, which is where we talk about all things about human design, which is by far one of my favorite things because we use your place of birth, your date of birth, your time of birth, and we pull up this super cool chart that's based off of your genetics and also planetary energy when you are born. And it is absolutely like reading a book about your personality. You will read it and you will be like, oh my gosh. But here's the cool part is that you get to develop your strategy. So instead of doing it the way everybody else is trying to do it, which is the go, 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 do, that doesn't work for everybody. Some of you have a energy design that is not aligned with that. And the more you try to go, 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 do, you will actually fail. And so it takes you, manifesting generator. That is what I am as well. So I might be kind of like, excited about that, but but it's cool. So like generator, if you're a generator, human design is like absolutely, I can't get enough of it. I teach a class in it. I can't get enough of it. I absolutely love it. I love teaching it. Like for those of you that aren't familiar, I'll share with you like the heart center. So the heart center is you have these energy centers. There are 9 of them. Some of them are in your little cool, I can actually pull one up for you, but in your little cool chart, some of these centers are colored in and some of these centers are not colored in. And so that tells you whether or not the energy from that specific system is going to be consistent for you or whether that energy is going to be flexible. So if it's flexible, then that means that you are going to be able to pick up the energy of other people. And not only can you do that, and I'm actually going to show you this because it's so cool. Not only can you pick up the energy of other people, but you magnify that energy. And so it's super duper cool. So I'm going to show you mine because it's so cool to talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. So this is what a human design chart looks like. And here we go. So this is me. Great. So you can see my entire personality. And if you know how to read one of these, you'll know exactly what makes me tick. But there's a couple of things on my chart specifically that before I really looked at my human design, I was frustrated with myself. So one of them is one of my channels and gates. It means that when I'm talking with people, I interrupt them. So before I was like, wow, that's just really annoying that I do that. But what's going on is I'm picking up what they're saying before they say it. So I don't have to wait for them to say it. If you don't know that about yourself, right? You're like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? But the moment that I realized that that's what was happening, now when you look at this chart and you don't understand it, I'll just tell you quickly. So these are open centers. This is where my energy and my personality is flexible. And these are my energy sources that are consistent. Well, in a beautiful world, guess what? Everybody's charts lay on top of each other. So everybody's personalities, just think of it as we all come together and they all create a completely filled in chart. So the whole methodology behind this is if you follow your human design to a T, you will remove all resistance in your life. And if we all did that, we would be able to flow in perfect harmony. How cool would that be? So I now don't get upset with myself. I realize an awareness is like one of the most important things to get your cognitive mind aligned with your subconscious is just awareness. So now I know when I'm sitting in a group and I'm sitting at a conference table and I need to make sure that I'm not just popping stuff off and being obnoxious. I realize that, wow, I don't need to get irritated with myself that I know what someone's going to say before they say it. And that's why I tend to skip over. Like, I don't need to hear you talk about the rest of the thing because I've already moved on. But I don't beat myself up over that. This is another cool one. So I have a defined heart center. And before I realized that about myself, I was really hard on other people. So I couldn't figure out why other people couldn't just set a goal and then get it done. I was like, why can you not just start eating healthy and then, you know, have a successful diet, or what, or why can't you just stop an addiction, or why can't you whatever? It didn't make any sense to me until I did my human design and I learned about myself and realized, whoa, so this heart center that's colored in is really rare. So if you have a human design chart and your heart center is colored in, you need to know that you can do willpower. Willpower is your power. So when you set your mind to something, it's not about whether or not you're going to accomplish it. It's basically deciding, where do I want to spend my energy best, because I'm going to get it done. So if you don't know that that's how you are, but that other people aren't, and you become a boss, then you expect everybody to be up at this level that you're at. And guess what? They can't do it. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them, but here's where your strategy comes into play. So if another person has this center open and you have it closed or filled in or colored, guess what that means? I can give my energy to another person. So think about when you go to a seminar. So your company sends you to one of these big woolahs in Miami, Florida. And you're like, yeah, you're in there, you got your notebook and you're like writing all this stuff down, and maybe you're in direct sales or something. And then you're like, when I get home, I'm going to do this. And you have like this list of stuff and you're 100% certain, right? That's what all these are about. You go to get motivated and then you leave because that's what they want you to do. And you're like, I'm going to sell. I'm going to be blah, 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 whatever it is. And then what happens? You get home, you get back into your routine, and it lasts for like 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, just depending on how well you keep that energy. And then what happens? You fizzle out. You know why? Because that energy was momentary for you. You picked it up because of the person that was speaking. And so people that have filled in centers like the heart center, and some of these others, they're really good at motivating other people. Same with this box right here. This is a throat center. So it means that those people have voices. So if you were with me last week, I think it was, when I talked about the issue going on at work, you may have, this may be defined for you. And so it might not be defined for someone else. So they're not going to feel comfortable voicing their opinion, but they might come to you because our auras talk to each other, and their aura knows that you and your aura will actually say something. So they may come to you and be like, hey, this happened. And they don't feel comfortable bringing it up or doing something about it, but they know that you will. And so they tell you so that you'll take action. So that is seriously, like, it's the coolest thing ever. I love doing it. If that resonates with you, send me a message. I'll tell you how we do it. I'll pull your whole chart for you and do a whole PDF file and send you all the notes. And it will make, even just doing that will make a huge difference in your life and how you make decisions, and aligning with, hey, this is how I am. So stop going against the flow, clear away the conditioning, stop doing it how everybody else tells you should, because you probably aren't designed to do it that way. And if you do it the way you are designed, you'll always be successful and you won't run into resistance. Okay, guys, there you go. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Monday, and I will see you next week.